Welcome to Real Estate and Taxes with Lakshay. I will be helping you minimize your taxes. All right, let's get started. Thank you once again for joining my Tuesday session on real estate and taxes. Once again, so if you have missed any of the previous presentations, feel free to reach out and look at my YouTube channel. You can find all of the previously missed videos or recordings over there. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Lakshay. I am an accountant working out of Mississauga and Brampton area. I provide accounting services. So anyone who's interested in getting their taxes filed, HST filed, bookkeeping, I am your guy. And today's topic, I wanted to focus again on a topic that is close to us in regards to the real estate and taxes community. The very, very popular item is, should I invest in Calgary, Edmonton, or somewhere else? In the previous years, we have seen a lot of bump up in different communities, right? We have seen a lot of people going from Ontario to other provinces that are more affordable, namely New Brunswick, Edmonton, Alberta, Calgary. All of these are very good contenders. First of all, the cost of living in Ontario has gone up. Secondly, the employment has kind of squeezed. Just yesterday there was another announcement for layoff by CBC News. Another 600 people were laid off. So it has been tough in Ontario. So how can we reduce our cost of living, pay lower insurances, and still be able to prosper? So a lot of the investors, a lot of the clients are moving towards provinces that have a lower cost of living. So today I wanted to discuss, is it a good idea? Which ones are the ones that are good? Which province has the highest growth in terms of rent? How has the prices changed over years? So I'm gonna give you a good overview and followed by my own conclusion. So first and foremost, the problem is the prices of Canadian real estate are declining. So the prices, if we compare from 2022 to 2023, overall in Canada, there has been a decline in price. This is not a news for us. What is the primary reason of this decline? Well, thank you, Bank of Canada. They have been increasing the interest rate consecutively, and as at October 25th, 2023, we're sitting at 5%. So that has technically increased the cost of borrowing, and because the cost of borrowing has increased, people are not able to afford their homes. People are looking at places where they can maybe move to a different province and see how it might work for them better. So first of all, in Toronto, the cost of living per family is roughly $5,000, whereas the price of properties have kind of dropped from 1.3 million to 1 million over the span of 2022 to 2023. This is based on data which might be a little bit dated in terms of we're in end of 2023 almost, but it still gives us a good reflection that the prices have dropped. We all know $1 million house might be selling at 800, so there is a 20% market correction overall in the GTA area, and this has caused the cost of living overall, as well as the affordability to cost of living has gone up, and the affordability crisis has kind of made people move to different provinces. Now let's look at something similar in Edmonton. In Edmonton, the cost of living is far cheaper. Why? Because the pricing, which is in Ontario, it might be $1 million for the cheapest home in Toronto, for example, but in Edmonton, a single family home can be found for roughly $370,000. So there's a big opportunity for someone who is working from home or who has the ability to move from one province to another. This offers a great buffer for someone who's looking to have a more affordable lifestyle. Edmonton offers that exactly. The cost of living is far lower. If we add all of them, it's $1,600 for rent, $575 for childcare, $681 for transportation, and $1,400 for roughly food. So if we add this, might be $3,000, $3,500, and roughly $4,200 on a month-to-month. Whereas in Toronto, this might be a lot higher. It could be roughly sitting at $6,000, $5,500 for a family of with one child. And the price of homes we're looking at is roughly, $800,000, $900,000, even $1 million for a single family home. Whereas in Edmonton, it's sitting at $371,000 to $400,000. Now let's look at Calgary. Calgary actually is more expensive than Edmonton. A semi-detached could be found for $600,000. A townhome over there can be found for roughly $480,000, and a single family would be found for roughly, upwards of $600 to $800 ballpark, depending on the square footage. So in cost of Calgary comparison to other provinces, if we add this all up, 1,800 plus 1,400 works out to roughly 3,200 plus 700, 4,000, and then 681. So roughly $4,800 to $5,000 is the cost of living for Calgary. So the most expensive is Toronto. We already know that. The second provinces that I wanted to compare today was Calgary and Edmonton. Calgary hitting at number 2, and number 3 is Edmonton. Edmonton being the most affordable, the least amount of cost of the homes, and compared to Calgary is sitting at roughly 500s mid. Edmonton sitting at 400 to 350 even, and of course Toronto sitting at closer to $1 million. So all three in comparison, Edmonton has been the most affordable if you look at these charts. Now let's look at other cities. I didn't want to mention Ottawa, Vancouver, Halifax. This presentation only focuses on roughly 3 provinces, but that doesn't mean the other provinces should be ruled out. If you notice, the most expensive one at the bottom is sitting at Vancouver, and so on and so forth. So Toronto is the second least expensive, and the least expensive is actually Montreal, Quebec City. Montreal and Quebec City is heavily focused on French Canadians, so I would maybe focus on provinces that is a little bit more affordable, starting from St. John's, Moncton, which is New Brunswick, right? So these are all great provinces to still move into. The immigration laws are great, the rent control, the eviction policy. Typically, if someone wants to evict their tenant in Toronto, it usually takes roughly 8 months to 1 year, where you're still paying someone else's mortgage. You're still waiting for your hearing, and you don't know when the decision is gonna come, and you're out of pocket for all of that, utilities and mortgage payments. In province like New Brunswick, there's a 15-day eviction policy. So I can issue a notice, and within 15 days, they will be evicted. So if you are an investor, if you're looking to have your clients park their money where the growth potential is the highest, I would start moving out of the province of Ontario, because there is a big lag in terms of growth in prices. We all know that in 2010, a detached home was sitting at $400,000. In 2020, the same detached home was sitting at maybe $1 million, right? So in Ontario, the growth has already happened, and it has already doubled, even tripled in value when it comes to housing prices. But other provinces like Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton, New Brunswick, all of these are under the radar. They haven't really started to see the exponential growth which we have already experienced in Ontario. If my personal favorite, if someone asked me, Edmonton would be one province that I would want to look at, and the second, my personal favorite would be New Brunswick. If we just compare year over year, in Canada there has been overall decline in price for roughly 13%. Toronto, we're seeing 16% contributing, Vancouver another 10%. Edmonton has also seen a price drop, but Calgary has seen a price up when it compared to March 2022 to March 2023. But overall, I feel like in Canada the prices have corrected, and you can see anywhere from 10 to 20% price drop based on whatever you may have purchased in 2022 to 2023. That's roughly where we're sitting at. Now let's look at some of the provinces that have the highest rental growth across Canada. If you look at Alberta, it's sitting at 13%. If you look at Nova Scotia, it's sitting at 20.8%, and even Ontario has a 17%. All of these provinces are actually showing a rental income growth. So anyone who's an investor who wants to invest in Canada, regardless of which city it is, you can expect to see a very high rental growth and year on year. So again, a good positive sign for a strong economy, and that's what I would want to point you guys towards. In conclusion, what I would say is the market for Calgary and Alberta have significantly appreciated over the last couple of years. If you don't want to buy at the highest price point, start looking at provinces that are still haven't reached the potential of the highest prices. My personal favorite, once again, is Edmonton and New Brunswick, because they still have a lot of room to grow. Potential for positive cash flow is very high in these provinces. If someone is renting their unit within Ontario, they already know that they're at a negative cash flow. If they purchase their home in maybe 2020, 2021, and the interest rate has gone from 2 to 5, 7%, you can easily see that your mortgage might have gone significantly up, maybe doubled. If it's $1,500, it might be sitting at $3,000, but you cannot double the rent. So you might be sitting at a negative cash flow if you're in Ontario, whether it be condominium market, whether it be detached single home, or whichever type of property you're buying. But if you look at New Brunswick, or if you look at provinces like Edmonton, there are still projects that you would be able to buy for 300 price point, 400 price point, which will eventually give you positive cash flow from day one. And I wanted to conclude this presentation with the top 5 regions where the 1-year growth in terms of property prices, and 3-year growth and 5-year growth. If you notice, Greater Moncton, which is situated in New Brunswick, had the highest growth, even though all the other provinces are seeing a price drop. You can see the price growth in New Brunswick for 1 year is roughly 26%. In Ontario, our prices have technically gone down from past year, but in New Brunswick and Fredericton, St. John, all 3 out of the top 5, 3 are situated in New Brunswick. All of them have seen a very good 1-year growth, 3-year growth, and a 5-year growth in terms of price point compared to 2022 and 2023. So again, if you're an investor, I would highly recommend look into other provinces that have better rent controls, good eviction laws, and somehow the prices haven't reached peak there. And with that, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you once again for joining in today's session. I'll see you next week on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Thank you.